Hello and welcome to Sofa Health Talks. I'm your host, Liana Shengalaya. My very special guest today is Dr. Barbara Geusens, who obtained her Ph.D. at the Department of Dermatology at University Hospital Gent, Belgium. In 2017, she launched her personalized skincare brand, Nomige, creating exclusively personalized products that are fully tailored to your needs for your unique skin. I've known her for more than a year and it's been a pleasure working with her. She had sent to me the DNA kit. I will collect the saliva sample, but first I need to fill up the lifestyle questionnaire on their website. So it's a very simple step, very, very easy to do at home. Within a couple of weeks, you would get the results with your personalized skincare products. So let me tell you a little bit about epigenetics. So epigenetics determines skin cells' natural aging and premature aging. Unlike genetic changes, epigenetic changes are reversible and do not change your DNA sequence. So without further ado, let's dive into the conversation with Dr. Barbara Geusens. So hi, Dr. Barbara. How are you? I'm so
I'm good.
excited to have you here.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure.
And I'm so much looking forward to discuss this amazing topic. Before we begin, I'd like to ask you a question about yourself. How was your journey through creating your own personalized brand called Nomige?
So I will start by introducing myself. My background is in science. I'm a bioengineer, so I studied biotechnology, so everything with DNA and genes. And then I had the opportunity to do a PhD at the Department of Dermatology, where as a non-clinician, I researched skin, I researched the interactions of topical formulations with skin. And that is one of the first moments where I thought, maybe a concept towards personalized approach would be a fit or a hit in the market. Because during my research and experiments, I did see that skin does behave very differently, even though histologically, morphologically, it looks similar. It does not always react the same. So, but as a scientist, of course, I didn't have the background or no commercial feeling of how to establish something like that concept. So I went as an innovation manager and product developer. I worked for OTC company in the category of derma. And that's where I learned everything else but science. So, I mean, developing, working with marketing, preparing product launches, etc. And that's how I came to found Nomige a couple of years ago. And as you said, it's about personalization. It's about tailor making skincare products to somebody's unique profile, being a DNA profile and lifestyle profile.
That's very interesting journey, and I think you're one of the first award-winning personalized skincare brands.
The way we do it, yes, absolutely. So when you think of the trends that are going from a pluralistic to a more individualistic approach, there are more skincare brands that are doing this. And so the concept of DNA testing and offering something personalized is something I did not invent. You see it in personalized medicine as well. You see it in food supplements, and there are other skincare brands. But the way that we do it, like our IP protected way of doing it is something that makes us very unique, because we constantly update the formulations according to also lifestyle changes. Even though your DNA doesn't change, there are other environmental factors that could influence the skin that are changing. That's something that makes us very unique. Yeah.
Absolutely. So one size fits all doesn't work. What are the intrinsic and extrinsic factors of aging? If you can tell us environmental factors and genetic, how it affects our skin health and the aging process.
So yeah, you already mentioned it. You have intrinsic aging and extrinsic aging, and intrinsic aging is something that happens by nature. Let's say that's something you cannot really control. This is something pre-programmed in your DNA, and that is what, when you look at families, grandmothers and mothers and children, and their way of aging is already pre-programmed. That's why they sometimes say, if you want to see how you will grow old, Look
Yeah.
at your mother, look at your grandmother. And then there's this external, extrinsic aging, and that is all the influences of UV damage, pollution, smoking, etc. on your skin. So they have like a 50-50 weight.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there is a massive awareness around UV and the damages it creates on your skin. About DNA, not so much, but if you think about it and you think about different ethnicities or different races, even though where there's a lot of sun exposure, the genetics determine how you will age. If you look at Asian people, even though they live in polluted areas or there's a lot of sun exposure, yet they age differently. And that is the part where the genetics play a role.
Exactly. Yeah. About the skin tone as well. It matters. Ethnicity as well.
Yeah, exactly.
On the
And
damage.
that's DNA. That's DNA. That's why everybody has different features and ages differently. It's a combination of both. It's not only this or not only that. It's both.
Both. Yeah. How much evidence is behind the personalized skincare? For decades already, the research going on, but is there enough evidence behind?
So that's a good question. There's a lot of evidence about the roles that genes play in skin aging, but we are the first one who have done a randomized controlled clinical trial, double blinded, to really investigate how a personalized approach benefits the skin better versus a non um, bespoke approach. There is still a long way to go, but I think we're one of the pioneers to observe this and to clinically also demonstrate that if you consider a DNA profile, meaning that if you consider the risks for accelerated aging and you can correlate that to active cosmeceuticals that do play a role in the same biological pathways,
Mm-hmm.
that you can make a significant difference. And this is what we published as well.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Whoever wants to read research papers, they can see on your website. It's available, right? It's
It's
there.
available. I think it's ready for download, and there are contact details. So in any case, it's easy to reach us, and we will send you all the papers.
Perfect. That's great. I've received from you this DNA kits. After sending saliva sample, when do we get the results?
It takes approximately 2 weeks and a half, 3 weeks before the DNA results are available.
Mm-hmm.
And then I do the interpretation, because what I do is from the genotype,
Mm-hmm.
I make correlations with the phenotype.
Mm-hmm.
That's why you have to fill out the lifestyle questionnaire.
Mm-hmm.
And to have a snapshot analysis of what the current status of your skin is, where do you live, environmental factors. So it takes 3 weeks to get the report ready and another week for the products to be ready.
Mm-hmm.
So then they ship, depending on where you live. It's next day delivery or a little bit longer. So count 4 to 5 weeks in total.
So it's worth waiting because it's personalized, it's unique, it's for you personally, and
effective.
Better results, exactly, better results. And it's also money saving because you're guiding the consumers what to use when, not to overconsume on skincare products and have tons of products at home unused or just expired.
Absolutely. I can only confirm that.
So there is this tendency of organic, sustainable skincare products. Um, how true is that? Is it just a marketing approach, or should we really pay attention to this?
Yeah, that's an interesting question, because as you might know, the skincare industry, beauty industry is very much driven by hypes and temporary concepts
Yeah.
that are not always very long lived, and rarely they are based on science.
Mm-hmm.
So the problem is that there is not so much regulation about these claims.
Mm-hmm.
So when somebody claims organic or vegan or natural, the framework is not very clear
Exactly.
about this. And especially, there is no such thing as scientific proof that claiming this is better for the skin.
Exactly.
So there are trends that I do support, like, for example, everything around sustainability. I can only support this, and this is a good trend. But then again, nobody really controls what it means.
Mm-hmm.
And nobody controls the companies that claim that they are working on sustainable solutions or alternatives. So that makes it a bit, what do you say, non-transparent, and a bit, I'm a bit suspicious about everything like this. And I'm not such a big fan of all these claims, especially the one that claim non-toxic or clean beauty. What does it mean? And it also gives the perception that every brand who does not claim this is the opposite, which is not true.
Mm-hmm.
So when consumers are looking, and I can really understand, consumers are driven by trends and they want to go for sustainable brands, and they want to go for everything that is as natural as possible, not to have chemicals, etc. But the thing that I always advise is, in the end, what is it that you want? When you buy skincare, do you want the product to solve some of your skin issues? Do you want the product to be qualitatively the best one? Already some items you can rule out, because it's not necessarily the case that natural ingredients can reach exactly the same endpoint as other alternatives. Or if you want packaging, for example, the most sustainable probably is glass. But when you have glass packaging, you have to be aware by the fact that it oxidizes, not only through light penetration, UV, but also the fact that it is in contact with oxygen. So you have to compromise on either efficacy, or you have to follow the claim. So that is something I always ask consumers: what is it you buy skincare for? If it's really about having the best products, then sometimes you need to give up on some of the other trends that you want to follow. So that,
Absolutely agree. That would be a good question to ask yourself before buying
yeah,
a skincare product.
yeah,
So that's
yeah.
a good point. So, next question is about what's the biggest mistake that beauty brands do?
Um, I think it is wanting to create too many SKUs and too many innovations.
Mm-hmm.
So adding innovations on innovations on innovations, and always trying to come with another new product is, I think, something that in the end, the customer of today will not buy anymore. I think they're looking for very transparent brands
Mm-hmm.
that do explain the reason why new SKUs or new innovations are introduced. And
Mm-hmm.
I'd also had the feeling that this makes a lot of sense, because if you would buy an eye cream and 6 months later or a year later, there's a new eye cream of the same brand that is even better than the one before,
Yeah,
you feel that you've been misguided.
that,
So the brands that are too much focusing on always creating new innovations with stronger and stronger claims, I don't think that a consumer still buys this. They're too critical now.
yeah, and it would create confusion and
Confusion. There's so much, it's an oversupply, there's so much, and everybody claims something differently. It's if you keep it simple, transparent, be authentic, I think that's already first step in the right direction.
I
Yeah.
totally agree with that. So, what's the golden rule for succeeding in skincare industry for those who wants to start up their new skincare line?
Well, there is none. um, if there was a golden rule, I think I wouldn't disclose it. No, it's just some tips I can give. Is when you think of creating your skincare brand, having a strong USP is important, a unique selling point to stand out of the crowd.
Mhm.
Um, think it through. Think how your competitors, how you compare yourself to competitors, and what makes you different.
Mhm.
And always try, even though launching a brand is very challenging, comes with up and downs, but always try go back to why did I start this? This is the core, and this is what in the end is needed to persevere. And if I look at it, my point of view, what I really wanted to do is to give the consumers more empowerment and more ownership of their data, because maybe I told it before, but there's so much information. There is so much advices and often conflicting, and people don't know what or who to believe.
Yeah.
So by bringing it back to your core, to your DNA, and giving consumers the insight in that is very powerful. And that is the only thing that doesn't lie. It's your DNA. So it kind of guides you to what your skin needs. And that with the educational aspect is what my mission was, to give them those insights, to educate them on skincare and developing skincare that really works.
That's amazing. And it is already successful. This approach really works and it will succeed more in the future, I believe. And the last question is about top skincare tips for every season.
Oh, I have a lot of tips. Wait, one of my tips I always give is look at the packaging.
Mm.
When you buy skincare, the packaging should be airless. What do I mean by airless? It should be designed in such a way that the formulation cannot be in contact with oxygen. So a jar is not a good idea. A drip, like a dropper, not a good idea. So basically, the only airless packaging is where you cannot screw off the pump system. That's what airless packaging is. And airless packaging in 99% of the cases is also non-transparent, so that the formulation is protected from UV. So when you go shopping, this is the first thing you should check, the packaging, because airless packaging is, it preserves the formulation better, and it allows the formulator or the brand to put less preservative systems in there. So that's my first tip. A second tip is, if you use cleansers, so at the end of the day, I do recommend to cleanse your face, but don't go too aggressively. And what do I mean? I'm not a big fan of cleansers that strip your skin or that damage the barrier. So everything that's scrub, granular scrub, I would tend to avoid. Everything that is too foamy, that dissolves the intercellular lipids, I would tend to avoid as well. No alcohol, so no toner with alcohol. So try to be mild to the skin to protect this, lipid barrier. And the natural protection system of the skin. So use cleanser, but try to use a milky cleanser, like a lotion cleanser, one that is not foamy, doesn't contain alcohol, and no scrub. And then a third one, there are more, but what would I say? UV protection.
Yeah, that's
Even
number one.
though even though it's winter time, maybe you should not apply or reapply as frequently as in summertime, of course. But if you would use a day cream that already has an SPF in there, it's an advantage. You're already protected for a part of the day at least.
Amazing advice. And you do have some sunscreen products in your for your brand, right?
Yes, we have a SPF 30 that we launched last year. It's a mineral filter. So it means it has zinc oxide and titanium oxide dioxide particles, and they kind of reflect the sunlight from the skin. It's like a mirror. And the advantages are that your skin is not heated up, where
It's
organic
cooling.
filters, organic filters, they tend to absorb the UV light and it heats the skin a little bit. So the mineral filters they work differently. They work immediately. They are better for acne prone skin, for sensitive skin. So they do have some advantages. And also when it comes to the environmental friendliness, it's better for the ocean and for the coral.
Amazing, great product. And it's great advice for the listeners. And if they want to know more about your products, how they can find you, where they
Well,
can.
they can find us through the website. They can follow us on Instagram, on Facebook, but also on our website, you will find a lot of information. And if you would like to buy the product, everything starts with ordering your DNA kit, as you just showed, Liana. It's basically we send this DNA kit to you. You can do it at home. You send it back, and the products will be sent to your home. We are not an anonymous company. We have a face behind the brand. We have a customer service that works perfectly. So for every question you have or doubt you have, feel free to contact us, and we will also keep on following up with you after you've purchased the product to hear if everything's fine, and if we need to reformulate or adapt something, we can do that.
Fantastic. So, thank you so much for your time. It was really interesting topic. I really enjoyed, and I'm sure the listeners as well. Best of luck, and
Thank you,
hope to
Liana.
see you soon again.
Happy to.
Thank you.
So thank you.